and that actually kind of leads, I think, right into the benefits of this. I think Sean and I had this conversation a couple weeks ago because I'm, sending out proposals to builders and architects that, are pretty significant in cost to do everything that they want to do, everything that their customer wants to do, similar to a blue heron house. I want the glass to change this color. I want car lifts that are connected. I want all types of craziness. And I think I scared the crap out of them when I sent them what the overall cost would be to do that level of design. It was a 10,000 square foot house with an 8,000 square foot secondary barn dominium for cars and other stuff that was going to house all the solar and the batteries. I'm like, look, this is intense. And I think I scared the crap out of him with the number I sent him, because he never called me back. I should probably follow up.
Not a good sign.
But I realized what I didn't do well was talk about the benefits of doing that and the ROI of doing that. So I know this is kind of wordy. I just kind of wanted in the background to kind of talk through some things. But one at the beginning is just getting an understanding of what the deliverables are, right? It's almost no cost to have a consultation, right? To understand what the homeowner and what the architect want to achieve in terms of design intent and functionality for that homeowner when they're in there. And I've said this for 20 years. Every user and every homeowner is different in terms of how they want to interact with technology in their home. And there's nothing wrong with the guy that says, I want everything to be dumb. Absolutely nothing wrong with that guy. And there's nothing wrong with George Jetson that wants everything to be completely balls to the walls, automated. As they move through the house, things change colors and change volumes. But even though I think that bid was $50,000 to do all that design work for that customer, I would probably save that guy $100,000 at the end of that job. So there is real ROI there. I think we have to prove that out, with guys like yourselves that want to engage with technology design up front. Obviously looking at number 4, right, managing supply chain, making sure that the products are there in a timely fashion. Number 5 is project management. The amount of time your PMs are standing at job sites at the end trying to put out fires with the different contractors is significant. If we can alleviate 90% of that PM time at the end of the project, that's tens of thousands of dollars. Empowering an MEP to incorporate drawings into their drawings, right? So 90% of their work is already done. They're just taking our CAD files and layering their stuff right on top of it. The low voltage guy now just shows up. Okay, I need 10 of these, I need 4 of these, I need 6 of these, and they order them from the supplier. That integrator's not taking a hit on their margin, right? They're gonna be more profitable as a trade because they engaged in this service. And our number one goal, it is important for us as a technology design house, is to increase the budgets of the homeowner, right? Through education and knowledge about the different systems. Not picking on Savant, or actually Lutron and Savant are both great examples here. They have 5 levels of lighting, right? From dumb to wireless to wired plus wireless to fully centralized low voltage keypads. And then there's 3 layers of how nice those keypads can be based on the cost and the design the customer wants to go with. Almost everybody is going to be like, yeah, just give me the Radio Raw 2 stuff. It's cheap, works, it's smart. But then when you walk through that customer, we'll go, hey, but you're going to have 7 switches in your kitchen, right? If you just went up another $10,000 to $15,000 in your budget, you could centralize that lighting all in your electrical cabinet and then have one beautiful keypad there. It's not hard for that homeowner that's building a $10 million house to say, yeah, I'm gonna spend an extra $20,000 so my $20 million house has a nice design.
I don't think it's just the technology budget, though, right? Because when you're talking about the AV side of things, it could be bigger rooms, it could be additional rooms, it could be different sized and finished rooms because of what the experience is going to be, because that's designed in. And if it doesn't get discussed early, you don't get that expansion of the space. So it's more than the technology budget that I think.
Theater's a great point, right? If someone wants a theater room, right? Yeah. A lot of people say, I'm just going to dedicate this room for the media room or the entertainment room. And then when you get towards the end of the project is, yeah, you guys have built out this area for the media room or the theater room. And all of a sudden that conversation gets really intense around sound walls and what type of speaker and what type of screen and You can build a $20,000 media room, or you can build a $1 million theater, right?
Sure.
You're not going to know which is which until you educate that customer on what their options are there.
There are a lot of parallels between a tech designer and an architect. Right? Our
Totally.
process is almost exactly the same in a linear fashion. So we're going through a whole discovery process early on where we want to understand what that customer wants. When an integrator handles discovery, they're listening and they're asking the same questions or similar questions. The difference is they've already got a solution in mind in most cases. So most integrators kind of have an idea what they're going to sell you. They're just trying to figure out the right way to get to you to that point in that conversation.
Right.
With us, I don't have a vested interest in what that integrator sells. I have a vested interest in my client. So I want to make sure that what I'm sharing with them is exactly what they want to put in that home. So from discovery through schematic design, through design development, through construction administration, or construction drawings and construction administration, some project management and commissioning at the end, we follow the same path that an architect would, and hopefully give you a better outcome, and definitely give you a better cost structure where you're saving money throughout the process if you do it the right way.
I would really like to hear from you guys of what we should call ourselves as technology architects, because I'm technology consultant, technology designer, technology architect. This is a new thing for companies that are designing every aspect of that home mechanical, electrical, and low voltage systems. And I want to find the least abrasive way to talk about what it is that we do that doesn't potentially scare a builder away, scale an architect away, or scale a homeowner away because we're some high-priced architect. I'm doing a spec home in Charleston, got the architect, did the design, and his first thing was like, let me introduce you to my landscape architect. I'm like, landscape architect? I'm like, I don't even have a builder yet, and we're talking about landscape architecture? So I don't want to turn a homeowner off by the way that we present ourselves as a technology design firm or a technology architecture, but Sean's point, we do take an architectural view or attack on these projects. You know, we are very familiar with being on the phone calls with the architects, with the PMs, with the GCs, with the homeowners, with the MEPs, you know, in Revit, in CAD, sharing these advanced drawings back and forth to make sure everybody's on the same page before we get into the weeds.
So we have 10 minutes left. You have some time for a commercial at some point, but we could also do a little bit more. Huh?
That wasn't your.
That wasn't a commercial.
My whole life is a commercial.
So let's pop through a little bit,
Yeah.
a little bit more if you want. I think we kind of covered.
Yeah, we kind of covered this. Again, I think one of the biggest things I need to work on is showing where that ROI is to your community, right? Is, hey, if you're spending $10,000 or $20,000 to design technology for that entire home, how are you going to offset that $10,000 or $20,000 at the end? I think a lot of it comes into project management and conflict reduction in change orders, reduction in delays on that project, and the ability to have a company that you can work with that can adjust CDs, I think has some value.
I think one of the things we didn't talk about, which we probably could have a whole session on, is if this upfront detailed specification goes beyond the technology to all the mechanical and electrical systems, is there an opportunity to track what actually gets built into the house over time and have a more accurate record of the as-built home for the long-term maintenance piece too, which, as I understand, would be a benefit because there's a lot of stuff flying around during the construction process, and a lot of these electrical and mechanical contractors are not keeping up to date the specific stuff that goes in.
Well, for us, they're mandated to give us the red line drawings, and we have our guys that check. This is what they put in. It did match the spec.
Yeah,
and
but
it
did
helps
you have
for
a
our
mess in
warranty.
that regard
There
before you
has been a
started
mess in that in the
mandating?
past. Wait a minute, that's not Ream? What was it? Well, how come that's not Ream? It says Ream right here. That did happen a long time ago. Managing your job that's part of
And
it.
there's a lot of builders out there, and we address this with Housing Transformation Summit, is just like lifetime value. Your business is, and I think you guys are probably, your business isn't over after the close.
That's right.
There's some long tail revenue opportunities too, but you got to have that documentation solid.
Yeah. And I always look, because I spent so much time now in the solar industry, working with solar installers and battery manufacturers, is it takes contractors time to adjust to the future. And the majority of solar guys out there are still slinging Tesla. And Tesla is a great brand. They're a great marketing company. If you're not on a 200 amp home, which most of you guys aren't doing 200 amp homes, your solar guy is going to try and sell you a Tesla Powerwall and Tesla solar panels for your 10,000 or 5,000 square foot home, because that's what they know. It won't work. It's going to create a complete and utter mess. And it's going to take that solar industry of 20+ thousand solar installers years to understand where technology has moved to. But they're so stuck on that one thing that they've been selling that they just assume that it's the right size for everybody. But technology has just leapfrogged Tesla 2 or 3 times now in terms of batteries and inverters. So anyway, there's just some things like that.
Hey, Dan, just
Yeah.
back there
Yeah.
real quick. So does everyone kind of agree that this sounds like it's a good idea? Kind of like, yeah, that makes a hell of a lot of sense. Yeah? So are you all asking yourself, well, there must be a reason why it hasn't been done, because we've been building houses a long time. So it sounds great, but so what do you think the reason is it hasn't been done? I have some theories.
Get cut at sales because it's the first thing to go, and they'll say, we'll decide it later.
Okay.
Then we sit down and we talk about the infrastructure.
Yeah.
We'll say, well, that's great. We'll put the infrastructure in, and then we'll just purchase everything else.
Yeah.
They're constantly trying to squeeze and value engineer. And so when we sit down with an integrator, for 20, 30 grand,
Yeah.
it's so intangible that it's just very difficult to sell it on the front side.
So it's not essential, so it gets deferred.
Yeah, we may have 5% of our clients that are coming in wired for this,
Yeah.
no pun intended.
Who else has a reason why they think it hasn't been done? Over here.
I think a lot of it too goes all the way back to who's actually leading the project. Is it the architect? Is it the builder? Is it the client driving it? I
Right.
think that's why Lou Perrin there can probably attest that design build has so many benefits when it comes to
I
things
see.
like that. I think you get all these different players involved,
Yeah.
and it gets confusing. Who's
Yeah.
really carrying? Who's that one point of contact? Who's driving this? Who's helping to bring the entire team together to
Yeah.
make the decisions? And that's, it's very fragmented across the board.
Yeah. All right.